Have you heard the news lately? The UK government is going to impose a UK-wide pre-9 p.m. ban on TV advertisements for junk food. What? What is considered junk food? Simply put, food high in sugar, salt and fat that is bad for you. This is the likes of chocolate, burgers, soft drinks, cake, sweets, ice cream, biscuits, juices with sugar, crisps, chips, pizzas, even breakfast cereals and fish are on the list. So is that a goodbye to Lucius ads full of cool music, slow motion video, flying around foods, catchy messages? Hope not. If you're just meeting, my name is Tassos Koidis and I'm a lecturer in food science and nutrition at Queen's University Belfast. Follow this channel to learn about food science, nutrition, improve your food choices and ultimately improve your health. We will break down this in 3 different sections. I will quickly walk you through the news, analyze what was announced, then we will ask a couple of industry leaders to share their opinions on camera, and as a conclusion, I will tell you what I believe is going to happen and what's next in the horizon. We will pull it off? Let's go! In essence, this new legislation is aiming at preventing many young people consuming too many unhealthy products and offset the economic costs of obesity. It somehow protects them from exposure and often unconscious influence of adverts, both TV and now more importantly, online. But why restrict advertising? Well, the UK Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, since his own COVID-19 illness, which got progressively worse due to his increased weight, made tackling obesity a government priority. The UK population weight raised in the last 30 years. 1 in 4 people now are obese, 1 in 2 are overweight, with implications for their health and for the national health system, the NHS. Problems often begin in childhood. 1 in 3 children are overweight or obese. Those from the more disadvantaged backgrounds are most likely to suffer because products high in refined sugar and salt are cheap to manufacture and affordable, which makes them highly accessible. In fact, if you think about it, sugar, salt, and refined vegetable oil are the cheapest ingredients on the market and they are lucrative, therefore, for processed food manufacturers. This is very easy for anybody to be consuming a high carbohydrates and high fat diet. We are surrounded by high in carbs foods, bread, pasta, rice, breakfast cereals, fruits, and most rich indulgent foods, crisps, chocolate bars, pastry and desserts, they are high in fat and sugars. On the other hand, protein, which is essential for a balanced diet and has proven weight loss benefits, is one of the most expensive ingredients to source: meat, fish, dairy, legumes, and thus often is underconsumed. All processed foods have high contents of salt, which makes the food tasty. We are focusing on processed foods here for a number of reasons. A, they have recognizable brands and large influence, Pringles, Coca-Cola, and so on. They are cheap and thus accessible, and as consumers, we have embraced the convenience that processed foods and ready-to-eat foods offer as a generation, so we cook less elaborated dinners compared to our parents, and this explains, I guess, why the processed food sales are going up. If advertising increases consumption of unhealthy food, then restricting advertising is potentially one way to reduce consumption. Is the UK the first country which this was done? Since 2007 in the UK, food and drink products that are high in fat, sugar and salt had been banned from being advertised during television aimed at children. This is the extension of this law, and this is world-leading as far as I can tell. More broadly, many countries, including the UK, have attempted to impose barriers to access unhealthy foods, but these are mainly related to tax, which is more of a generic question. So this is the topic of a different video. What about online ads? The paid for content in the TV, which is either live or on demand, will be banned from 5:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. And all the online platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and so on, will be banned too. Companies are continuing to promote, if they want, in their own websites the products and self-post in social media pages, but they cannot pay for their advertisement. Will all food be affected? No, some products are naturally high in fat, for example olive oil, high in sugar, for example honey, and this will not be affected. We are mostly talking about processed foods that are helping, I guess, obesity. When this is taking place? End of the year, so plenty of time to prepare and polish the rough edges of the legislation. Which businesses are affected from this? So not small or medium businesses. Only the big boys of the food industry are somehow affected. At this stage, let's hear some experts speaking about the topic.
We are in the midst of a national obesity pandemic. We know, as highlighted by the recent published National Food Safety Strategy report, that poor diet contributes to 64,000 deaths a year in England alone and costs the economy some £74 billion a year. Tackling obesity, which affects more than a quarter of UK adults, is a national priority. This problem is of growing concern amongst our children. Problems often begin in childhood, and we know those from the most disadvantaged backgrounds are most likely to suffer. Currently, 1 in 3 children leave primary school overweight or obese. The ban is one important part in building a more healthy environment where the healthy option is the easy option. As part of an anti-obesity drive, I welcome the fact that the TV restrictions on junk food in TV adverts is coming into place. There are also new rules that are coming in on online promotion, which I think will also be very positive. But things that are traditionally maybe seen as junk food, but really don't play a part in this obesity, things like honey, Marmite, avocados, I think it's great that they'll still be allowed to feature in advertising. So will many of the zero sugar drinks and products like McDonald's nuggets, which nutritionally are not deemed to be an FSS product. The government says that TV and online restrictions could remove up to 7.2 billion calories from the children's diets in the UK, reducing the number of obese children by about 20,000, a target worth going for.
Hi, so I'm Sophie and I'm a PhD researcher at Queen's University Belfast. What are my views on the new junk food advertising legislation? Well, as well as being a student of food integrity, I also have 4 young kids. So I'm fully supportive of this policy and I think it's a great move in the right direction. I think that children and adults are spending more and more time online, and so we're constantly bombarded with a stream of unhealthy food advertising. I'd really like to see healthy food in the limelight, and much as the soft drinks industry levy encourage reformulation, I'd love to see the power of big food harnessed to promote healthier products. I think that our current food environment is shaped to send us in the wrong direction at the moment, and for too long and ineffectively it's been left to personal choice. I do think that this policy could go further, and I'd really like to see it extended to other media, particularly sports sponsorship, which clearly has a huge influence and was illustrated most recently by Ronaldo's refusal to drink Coke and the resulting media coverage. I also think that obesity is a really complex problem, and this is just one of a raft of policies that should be implemented to support change. Do we have healthy food that's accessible, convenient and affordable for demand to shift to? And are we providing enough education for families to make those changes? And also, I think as a developed nation, we should be doing far more to support those in food poverty. In summary, yes, I'm fully supportive of this policy. I think it is a great step in the right direction. But I do think that there's much more that can be done.
So my take on this. First of all, this must be done with care, because a carelessly chosen piece of legislation can have surprisingly perverse effects. We do have a serious problem with obesity in this country and worldwide, and I'm telling you this after spending my 20s and my 30s as an overweight person. Only recently I lost 12 kilos and kept it off for the last 2 years. So educating and infusing the right messages at an early age is fundamental. But I think we are tackling part of the problem. I am baffled by the abundance of really cheap, really low quality food out in the supermarkets. I am baffled by the fact that unhealthy foods are promoted to me next to the tills, conveniently as I'm waiting to pay in the supermarket. We are trying to fix product placement in the TV and the internet. What about the supermarket itself? What about the school lunches? What about the kids' parties? What about all of these treats that are quite affordable? Buy one, get one free. 50p for a chocolate bar full of palm oil. Studies have shown that as the price of the food decreases, individuals get fatter. In fact, eating behavior may be more responsive to price increases than to nutritional education. In other words, even a well-educated person will make a bad choice if the price of the food is going to be low. So overall, a great step in the right direction. It would be a challenge to police this legislation, especially in the online space. Let's see what happens. I'm guessing the thresholds of sugar, salt and fat will be kept the same as with the existing legislation for TV ads that was introduced in 2007. We will see. But it will be great to do a deep dive into those thresholds and openly discuss if they're up to date with modern research findings, taking into account that almost 15 years have passed since their introduction. And science is moving fast, especially in the nutrition space. On the other hand, it will be interesting to see what is going to be the reaction of the industry. Beyond that, as I said, we should go further with perhaps product placements of junk foods in points of sale, in schools, in sport events, and introducing more incentives for companies to make reformulation of the ultra-processed foods that also happen to be ultra-low in price and ultra-low in nutritional quality. Obesity is one of the biggest problems of our generation. We figure out reducing smoking in single-digit numbers in this country. Can we solve obesity? Come on! That was today's video. I hope you liked it. I hope it was useful. Subscribe if you found it useful. Like and comment if you can. It has been a pleasure. Thanks a lot and see you in the next video. Bye!